without further ado, here's your host, Chuck and Mash.
Okay, and speaking of senators, while we were talking about Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, I kind of wanted to throw in John Fetterman into this whole ordeal. And, one thing with John Fetterman, I really respect the fact that he's trying so hard to just be middle of the road, which is something that I strive for constantly. I try to give, this administration and these people the W's, but I'm just a podcaster. I'm just a dude in West Texas that has an opinion. This guy actually is a senator with a vote, with a big vote, not my little one vote that doesn't necessarily count here in Texas. I have a big concern with Fetterman. While I appreciate the fact that he tries to be middle of the road, I have to kind of say that he tries a little bit too hard to be middle of the road. My big concern with Fetterman is the fact that he's a true Democrat. He's not with the super lefty side of everything. He tries to kind of see the middle of the road. He tries to, give them their credit where it's due. But my concern is the fact that he's so quick to jump on Trump policies. It's like he jumps on it first and then kind of takes it back later, from the Democratic side. What is your stance on John Fetterman?
I don't know a whole lot about the guy.
You don't?
No, I've been following a lot of international stuff.
Okay, so, this is a, Democratic senator, not House member, from Pennsylvania. He's on a bunch of committees. I actually pulled up the committees that he's on. Some of them are kind of wild. But, he's known for his unique political brand that blends progressive priorities with a blue-collar aesthetic. He's in the Labor Rights Committee. Strong support for unions and increasing minimum wage. Completely Democratic point of view, unions. Criminal justice, focused on reform, second chances for nonviolent offenders. This goes back to his time as lieutenant governor, from where he's from. His foreign policy is something that's kind of skewed from the Democratic platform. Notably broken with some wings of his party by maintaining a very staunch pro-Israel stance during recent conflicts. Now, I have to kind of give him that because this is kind of the way we do here in the United States. We're pro-Israel. That goes back biblically. That goes back, religiously to side with Israel because it's the Holy Land and things like that. So I don't fault him too much for that, but just kind of pointing out some of the things where he's breaking from his party from. Health advocacy. Since his stroke during 2022, he has been an open advocate for disability accommodations in the Senate, mental health awareness, specifically regarding clinical depression. Now, this guy did have a stroke a few years ago. They were already kind of chastising him from the MAGA point of view because this is the guy that wears the basketball shorts. Big old dude. This dude's huge.
Yeah, I just put up photos of him.
Yeah. I mean, he's big dude. He don't easily find, attire like regular senators. It's probably not comfortable in it either. But that was kind of my, point of him. I was like, oh, well, he reminds me of my uncle. My uncle was always in like pajama pants. He didn't make a shit what he was going to. He could be going to a wedding. His pajama pants. And, I don't want to say button-up shirt because he probably wasn't even going to go there. But my uncle was just whatever he was. He was a big old guy like that too. So, it's like, hey, yeah, you're not really going with the norms of what we expect our politicians to dress like. But, hey, you're a Democrat. You're supposed to kind of go away from the norm, right? You're supposed to be this guy. My big concern with Fetterman is the fact that he actually came out, here a while back. I think it was on a podcast. He actually used the term TDS. And, like, we haven't blown that wide open 100 times. It's like, dude, really? Like, as a Democrat, you don't see what most of the people that you're representing see themselves, and you want to attribute it to TDS because, of course, we automatically go against what Trump did. Because if there's something that he did and is proposing, of course, not all of it is going to be bad. But 90% of it, we can track it back to some kind of money or some kind of horse shit or something that is not really on the up and up. But my biggest concern with Fetterman is the fact that you got a lot of liberal people that are like, hey, dude, you're not even part of our party. I'll kind of clap back on that and say, hey, maybe this is some of the Dems that we need. It's a little more middle of the road. But, this was one of the guys that voted to confirm Pam Bondi, of all people. This is the guy that saw the error of his ways and later said, hey, wait a minute, I'm not with this shit. This is the guy that just here recently was the deciding vote in the Senate of Mark Wayne Mullen. And, his excuse and his, reason for the way it was that he wants to be able to work with him, in the Senate, and he thinks that he's this and that. He's on the Committee of Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. He's a vocal advocate for SNAP, Democratic policy. Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. Committee on Environment and Public Works. Special Committee on Aging. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I'm not familiar with that
No, me neither. That's new to me. Something I'd love to get into. But these are some of the committees, because they're all assigned their little committees that they get to go and bring up points and all of those things. But I wanted to bring up Fetterman because he's actually been the outsider in the Democratic Party for a good while now. He's like the Manchin. He's the new Joe Manchin of the Democratic Party. But specifically myself, like I said a while ago, I am big concerned with the fact that Trump will bring up something, and Fetterman is so immediately quick to just jump on board with it, to later backtrack his stance on it, where he jumped on the thing with Bondi and said, oh, wait a minute, the SAVE Act. When Trump came out with the SAVE Act and started talking about that, he was quick to say, yeah, I'm all for that thing. And then he come back and said, oh, wait a minute. No, this is ridiculous. Is he too quick to jump on their side? Is my issue with the guy. I understand the fact that you want to be bipartisan, and I understand the fact that you want to be the middle of the road guy. But are you playing at this point? Are you acting? What is the thing with that? I know you said you haven't really followed him, but I just wonder your take on it.
Well, do you think that he's making knee-jerk reactions based upon, let's say, the headline or the title of a bill, or takes, say, Trump at his word, and then finds out the actual nitty-gritty of it, the actual details of it, and then changes his mind?
That's exactly what I think he's doing. The concern for me is the fact that he's so willing to jump on it from the get-go.
Once I can understand, but if you keep doing it and you didn't learn a lesson,
Well, I mean, there's Bondi, there's Save Act, I'm sure I can find many because it started to stick out to me because I've always loved Fetterman. I've always loved the fact, I'm a big Bill Maher fan. That's going to piss off both sides that heard that one. Because one week, one side loves what Bill Maher had to say, and the next week, oh, well, he's just a wash-up whatever, because they don't like what he had to say. I like balls and strikes, and that's what Fetterman has always been. I don't want to attribute to his stroke because they always thought he was eccentric, and they always thought he was, kind of that guy. He didn't really change after the stroke. He's always had that, way about him. But that's just what I wanted to bring up. That was it. That's really the gist of that whole segment of the fact of why be so fast to jump on top of it? You are a politician. Politics are involved here. Your job specifically is to hold that side. Now, I haven't looked into the fact if he's bought and paid for by the political action committees, things like that. I'm not for that. In fact, I love the fact that the Democratic Party is kind of breaking from that whole sort of thing. In fact, one of the talking points of conservatives right now is saying, well, y'all are quick to bash Trump and y'all are quick to this, but the Democratic Party is at a historic low of level, and y'all don't have anybody leading you. We don't need anybody to lead us right now. What the fuck leader do we have right now? Why? Who's there to lead what? We literally don't hold any majority in anything. The best we can do at this point is shoot at the presidency next. We're going to take the House, possibly the Senate majority in the midterms, not because of pro-democratic policy, but because of anti-MAGA policy.
because of how bad that train wreck has been.
Yes, it has nothing to do with the fact that we're doing anything good. It's the fact that they suck so fucking bad. And the fact that that's just kind of how that goes is what we're kind of winging it on.
Yeah.
You got to call it what it is. It doesn't mean that the fundamentals of what we believe in and what we're trying to get done isn't what's going to win. But right now, we're going to impeach Trump fucking train, which Fetterman's probably the same boat, saying we need something else. We need something else besides, because I'm excited about Nuremberg 2.0. I'm excited. I'm excited as hell. I want all of that. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Realistically, I don't. I think we've moved past the fact of us actually holding some of these people accountable and hanging some of these people.
Well, look what happened before. Look at what happened when he got so bad that even Nixon resigned from office and he was facing trial, just got pardoned. And the whole reason behind it was we need to move on and heal as a country and just let him get away with the shit that he did.
And all he did was something that the Trump administration would do like 20 times in one day.
Yeah.
That we would write off. That the Dems have probably done 20 times in one day that anybody's wrote off. I mean, like, we're not even on the same level.
He only got in trouble for covering up the break-in.
Our threshold is...
I mean, that was it.
Our threshold is busted and broken at this point of what we will allow these politicians to get away with. It is insane what our threshold is right now.
I don't think there is one anymore. It's just gone. The sky is the limit.
It's not. And that's something that I hope to see from the Democratic Party is, as much as I want all of this administration to be accountable, I also want it to be written off into non-existence. I don't want it to be forgotten, but I want laws and rules passed that combat it. I don't want impeachments. I don't want, as much as I want the Nuremberg, I want it. I want to see it. I want to see Pam Bondi fucking put in jail for the rest of her life. Trump's going to die in a few years. Is it going to give me that much pleasure? Maybe for the day. Maybe for the day. I'll wait for the funeral.
But you don't know if that's going to be a fucking lie, too.
Right. No, because it's going to be. Because no matter what, you're going to have the cult that trips out and thinks it's a big conspiracy and it's all going to be a fucking shit show that I don't even want to give him that satisfaction.
You're talking about a group of people who actually believe that Hugo Chavez rose from the dead, that JFK Jr. rose from the dead. So they're going to believe that Trump's going to come again and be the president. Fucking second coming.
I know. And I don't even
they're literally saying he's the next thing to God.
I don't even want to give them that recognition. I just want
fucking lunatics.
I want them written off. And, the shitty part about the political end of this is immediately when the Democrats take the majority, we're going to have to just start immediately overturning things that's happened. And it's not even going to be an illusion. It's going to be the depiction that we're going to be working so hard to just undo some of this shit that's been done just in the last year and a half, that it's going to be construed as that is our only platform, whenever there's so much more we can do. Now, they're really pushing Thune right now to break this filibuster, to break that threshold, to break the filibuster rule. And every one of them has said, this is still an unwritten rule. This isn't something that, this is something that, just like everything else we've done up to this point, there's been traditions and there's been the norm of what we've done in this country. And Trump was like, you know what? No. You know what? I'm going to push the Supreme Court. I'm going to push the House. I'm going to push executive orders. We thought Obama was bad at that part, right? But he just pushed it to a whole other level. The filibuster has always been there. It's always been very easy for the Senate to vote and break that and go ahead and make a rule to overturn these things with a majority. But they know as soon as they do that, the Democrats are going to turn around. And that's always been their talking point. They're like, oh, well, as soon as we do that, we know the Democrats are going to do it. You damn right they are. Because guess what? Once you do that just to get your little old SAVE Act passed, and then we whoop that ass anyway, now we got the majority. Now I'm fixing to have health care. I hope. I'm fixing to have automatic voter registration. I hope. I'm fixing to have easy plan to citizenship as an immigrant. I hope. But instead, is it that I have to undo so much of this horseshit because they have funded ICE? I can just hope that we have some Democratic leaders that are just that bold, that aggressive. This is why I push towards someone like Newsom. Whereas if you would have asked me a year ago, if I would have thought somebody like Gavin Newsom would be, the president and be effective, and I still don't know to this day that he would be, because us from the liberal left side, we're our own worst enemy. Half of them are going to say, nah, because he's not really with the trans argument. So we're going to implode on ourselves before we actually get a guy like that into office who is that aggressive. To say, you know what? Y'all motherfuckers wanted to play it this way. I'm fixing to show you how we're going to play it the other way. Pritzker, he's a badass. We'll see. Shapiro, he's a badass. More along the middle side, which I would like to see, which may be his downfall. Because we're our own worst enemy in the Democratic Party. We really are.
There's no unification. There's no working together.
There isn't. Whereas when you get to the conservatives and the Republican side, I mean, they literally are okay with Donald Trump calling Ted Cruz's wife the ugliest piece of shit on the planet, and then he turned around and fucking just went balls deep on him. And they're like, yeah, hell yeah. I mean,
J.D. Vance was against him. Now he's kissing his ass.
Yeah. I mean, Vance called him fucking Hitler before I did. And now Vance is, teed up to be the next one, even though I hope they run Vance. I hope they run Vance. But there's a lot in play, there. And that's why I brought up Fetterman, because, we want to do the middle of the road, but are we at that point where we're just that divided, where none of us are going to be able to come back? Not for election time. I think most of the country wants that, but I don't know that we can vote that way.
It's tough to say because they have muddied that water so much. One side has lied about the other one to the extent that it's no longer even. It's not only is it not based on reality, the claims that they make at times defies physics and all logic.
I think it goes both ways.
And the thing is, people believe it.
I think it goes both ways, because we take their conservative points that they put in, just like abortion and things like that, and we go the complete all the way with what they could do with it, which I think is valid. But that's coming from my biased point of view, where their talking point is, well, we just don't want, we want to preserve life and all this other horse shit, but we point out the niche parts that they can exploit because they've done it. But they point out the niche parts that we can exploit that we haven't done, that hasn't never been into play. But this is what they sell to their base, is what we would do, which we haven't done. They try to talk about Biden and lawfare whenever I will defend to the end, as much as I hate defending Biden. But I'll tell you right now, he stayed out of the DOJ. He stayed out of that. He did. Whenever Trump's own DOJ actually locked up part of his own administration, don't sit here and tell me that Joe Biden weaponized that against you.
Make attorneys good attorneys. That's where that phrase comes from.
I mean, you literally have your own administration turning on yourself, but then you want to sit here and tell me that Joe Biden was the person that weaponized his DOJ against Donald Trump, whenever you're talking about grand juries and juries of your own peers and actual evidence and things, whenever we have all of these cases that's coming up, go investigate them. Do you notice that they're bringing up these subpoenas and they're bringing up these charges? Do you notice not one of them are going anywhere?
Because it's complete bullshit.
Because that's the real lawfare. That's the lawfare that they wanted to keep hollering. The lawfare against Trump was something that his own picked handpicked fucking Supreme Court finally had to fucking intervene and say, nah, you know what? We're going to give him a pass because he was the president. They never said that all of the things that we brought up and Biden's DOJ brought up wasn't true. They said that it was okay because he had immunity for being president and that they would deem that part of the presidential duties. And you see what I'm saying? I mean, like, we've never once backtracked and said the things that Biden's DOJ brought up. And it's just a big concern. And, you know, Fetterman is the one that brings me to all that, because I'm like, why? Why? We're not there. Totally respect the fact that you want to bring everything back to the middle. Please. Are you trying to run for president? Do you think Fetterman's trying to run?
Not anytime soon.
And if he ran, what party would he run?
That's a good question.
Because I see him as a candidate, as being the next.
Maybe more of a VP.
Now, you know what I see him as doing? I see him as running and being the next Robert Kennedy. That was just enough to take away the votes, the deciding votes, from whichever party he decides to sell out to.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate about it, because I want to like it. I want to like the Fetterman that I liked 2 years ago, whenever you were the middle of the road guy. Extremely concerned with the fact that you're so quick to jump on a Trump policy. I'm not saying automatically go against it, but I'm saying, why don't you side with your party first?
Maybe he'll get burned enough times where he'll actually look at it before he says anything.
Or is he scoring political points by doing what he's doing now?
That's true.
When he's really the Democrat, but yet he scores those political points because, hey, MAGA, I mean, come on, man. You're talking about sheep deluxe.
Yeah.
I mean, really. He jumps on and he plays them like a fucking fiddle. He jumps on and they're like, oh, he's the only Democrat with some sense and this and that. And then of course he breaks back to his beliefs. I have to give it to him because he sticks with his beliefs. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. No. But then you see the liberals playing into the same thing. Because immediately, whenever he sides with them, they're like, oh, yeah, well, he's just a Republican anyway. I just sit back and watch. And out of all of that, that's the only thing that's concerning to me. Not his choices. Because it's like, hey, if you made that choice, you know what, man? Defend it. Defend it. I'm with you. Hey, if you think that there's some bipartisanship between you and Markway Mullen, I can already say that it's going to be better than Bondi. I can automatically say that, okay, Markway Mullen is this fucking badass UFC fighter. He's going to be down with the cause. You flipped it, so it means you were wanting something different. So let's give him a shot. Hey, sell it. Sell it and sell it to me. Because I'm the biased person that's going, man, fuck Markway Mullen. You got 2 first names? Yeah, I'm Marty against you. Fucking inbred fuck. But make me change my mind. But don't be that guy that just immediately jumps on the other bandwagon and that has actually literally used the term TDS whenever. Maybe you're the one with TDS because I've seen you fucking taco twice now. So now you're on taco bandwagon. And now I don't think you need to be in the party. So, I don't know. It's kind of my take on it.